The government of Salone, through the Ministry of Information and Communication, put forward to Parliament the Cybercrime Bill 2020, but the Parliament asked the minister and in team for go back and do more consultation and engagement with some stakeholders and the citizenry. But waiting day inside this bill, Imran Sila from the Government Strategic Unit be explained na this telephone interview.
Cyber bill, that's something we get for do with the use of which you could call social media and various other platforms that, in a world where increasingly they go digital now and technology be advanced. So the bill basically just sets which you like say the framework, the guidelines, and make sure say there is which you could call proper, responsible, but then also let people and get the freedom for use without not getting any reservations. So I'll give you a few examples, as to which cyber threats look like. So for example, if somebody sit on a Cambia now and just send some random message to me and say, then they do some business for all not fraud, and that you end enough for do that transaction that you send money and then it turn out for me say that person they really not existing in real life and that business we say they do not really they exist. That is called the cyber fraud. And under the laws we currently they exist, it becomes very difficult, So this cyber bill basically they capture all of the aspects in it, right? So that people get the freedom, right, and feel more comfortable as we engage, right, on the various platforms they may use them. Because don't sign so many international treaties, they make so many international commitments as way back as 2010 and 2011, 2012, right? One of the requirements and then that we supposed for able to get we own cyber bill, right? And I think in fulfillment of the international treaties, then they will don't sign. Nine don't lead way up to this point. So this effort we don't begin from the previous administration. We just don't bring our country to a point where we now have a bill, right, which is going to go through Parliament eventually.
One go say how the cyber bill no go jam together with the freedom of speech of people.
Okay, there's concerns and then sometimes where you get I just think there's a lack of understanding. There's been a lot of engagement just in the last few days. We don't intensify the engagement then they again. But let people understand, this government, more than anything else, interested in people and liberties and freedom as provided for by the Constitution and the laws of this land. We're very much interested. Otherwise, His Excellency the President and the Minister, right, not before don't spearhead the repeal for let expunge the Part 5 of the 965 criminal. And so, all of the efforts in NENA for make sure there are freedoms, right, in where people and engage and express themselves. And this is, if for anything, they also protect the same freedoms than they. That freedom where I go get, knowing I can engage, right, and if somebody attempts through fraudulent means for take money in my hand, those people, that internet cafe, they could be held responsible because now them platform that they use and make sure say people then get the freedom and not get anything for those restricting people their freedom because we as a government not get any interest in and cannabis in this.
This bill don't go to Parliament and the Parliament of Salondo ask say the Ministry of Information and in team take this to the people for involve the people How
Absolutely.
The ministry they do that? Why the MP not taking this lead for go meet them constituents and get them involved into this?
A few things in the way Parliament actually say. Number one, Parliament actually give credit to the minister, right, for the level of awareness where they don't create up until last week where the bill go Parliament. But that they ask say, let we escalate, intensify, ramp up. So they acknowledge firstly say a lot of engagement on the from the preparatory stages to the when then they do the drafting throughout every single stage. There has been a lot of engagement. Within Parliament they ask for intensifier. And MPs, they also commit themselves to the process that then will take on to their constituents for help for engage. Against the backdrop of that parliamentary attendance day, where the minister go, we don't see what you could call a flurry of activities. Flurry means plenty, then they can't thick and fast, right? So we don't engage large association of journalists. We just don't come out in a meeting with civil society organizations. The minister, Mohamed Ramansari, have been there for college with mass communication, department, all in an effort to engage, for intensifying the engagement. And very soon we will literally, right, across the country also, in various forms, for continue that engagement. Because don't forget the Parliament give it 2 weeks, followable for like cross the country, crisscross the country, and do a lot of engagement and come back so that we can go back to Parliament.
After the engagement, pull a press release, then disappointed because they were not consulted before this. And one will say, Sludge or the journalist go pay the highest consequence in case of anything of such, because then they deal with the people, then they deal with the information, and then they deal with writing.
I mean, everybody in their own right to deal with the people then. So it's not only Sludge. Members of parliament have get them concerns and then deal with the people then. Civil society organizations, they go tell you, say, they can access it, they said they deal with the people then. Government obviously says can access it and deal with the people then, because don't forget, we were elected right on a 5-year term. So we're actually engaging with the people. I mean, the point is, we're all supposed to put all of the interface there, all they get in various forms them with the public, right, so that they will understand and appreciate within this bill they bought. So yes, Sludge make their expressions then but they have no doubt also people have freedom of expression, right, as enshrined in the Constitution of the Republic. Let's just say one thing very quickly. There was a portion where they do the draft bill where they suggested that the minister forget the powers in terms of fines and all that kind of thing. This minister, Mohammed Gaman Swari, said, no. Let nobody not give me power for do anything. I don't need those powers, And I don't want let any other minister of information after me get them powers and because it is not about an individual, right? It's about the law where they protect people and rights, give the necessary safeguards, and so whatever policy we formulate which you will say contained in the bill, supposed to be very specific, and that it should not be at the pleasure of one person who happen to be a minister of information at the time for determining anything. And so that shows, right, a largeness of state from. I mean, this bill, right, they guarantee people their freedom of expression and association as enshrined in the Constitution of the Republic. If for anything, it is safeguard them very rights than they. Where the Constitution makes provision for. And, the minister is determined for make sure we reach across the country and explain to people them and allay people them fair.
As all that's the be, waiting now the main opposition party, APC, think about this bill. Sidi Yaya Tunis, now the acting public relation officer, they expressed this now this telephone interview.
We don't read the bill as proposed. But I dey say this and I dey say am with all seriousness. I want Sierra Leoneans not for take this bill as government opposition thing, because we want every Sierra Leonean for pay close attention to the bill. Now bill, if it pass the way they don't pull and so, it go affect the lives of Sierra Leoneans in a very negative way. We just don't repeal the 1965 Public Order Act because it will suppress journalists then. Well, this bill, where they don't pull now so, if it pass, it will suppress every citizen of this country. We get mobile phone, we get computer, we get any electronic device where it is used for communicate. The bill, as they present them, give the power to mobile companies them for record any conversation where you get na your phone, for record any message where you send, for record any email where you send, for record any photo or video where you send using your mobile phone or computer. And that information they will then they record, the government can use at any time for accuse you or for say you don't commit crime. And the bill also don't list several offenses where then say now offenses where you go commit using your mobile phone. But like other bills that we don't see before, this one, even where they don't list all the offenses, the punishment for their offenses, then they do not list none. Waiting the bill say, the Minister of Information now gets the power for determining the kind punishment where they forgive you and then finding wanting for any offense where you commit under this bill. Now the Minister of Information, they determine the punishment where you forget. So if the Minister of Information grabs say you forget 10 years in jail, now 10 years in jail you get. Then the bill they also say, like you now where they interview me, where they work for Hope Radio, if you commit an offense under this bill, the government get the power not only for punish you, but for also punish Hope Radio where you work for something where you do.
That's for say, if a member of APC gets a problem or SLPP, the whole party they pay the consequence of that individual.
Exactly.
Right.
They come out to the political implication. We don't see all the efforts where this government don't make for silence opposition. This bill, we don't see say as it is now, social media, now in the people they use for vent them disagreement, for communicate them disagreement, then opposition views them. And this now a direct attempt for silence people them na social media, for quiet people will get views way different from what government gets. And it's dangerous for with democracy, it's dangerous for freedom of speech, it's dangerous for privacy. So if husband and wife they communicate now, say government can record. And we on the political side, we feel say this could be an easy tool for government for use for go after opposition party them. We don't see several attempts where government don't make for silence opposition parties, especially with the main opposition APC. Because if me, CDI attorneys, when I act in National Publicity Secretary, go say something, whether now in a private capacity as citizen or on behalf of the party, the bill they say now, then can hold APC responsible and they also go punish APC for that. So what if tomorrow somebody in a party or somebody will not to even active member but not just member of a political party go say something, then the government grabs say, oh, will they suspend this party for 2 years? Will they suspend this party for 5 years? We don't get nothing for say because the bill don't give the Minister of Information the power.
When I get members of parliament representative, how will members of parliament they do for put the case across and say this is what we stand for and for the freedom of speech, this bill they go against the one day.
Parties will not for left hand to parliament no more. We have to be very honest. We don't see what's in the happen at our parliament day from 2018. Even where parliamentarians they say no, we don't see how then they force bill them for pass through and enact them. So this could be just another case where if we the citizens then sit down, that bill they go to parliament with the way the setup of parliament day now, clearly it go pass.
The main opposition party is part of governance. And then now the bill they on engagement of stakeholders and other citizenry. What's in the main opposition party can plan now and say, we self can join the sensitization and get the people, especially who get constituents to represent, and let them know the consequences about this bill. Are there in any plan?
Well, we already don't begin. I mean, speaking to you now in an interview is one. We don't engage other radios, and we also they engage with MPs and other stakeholders then. And we will continue in this manner. And it is not only going to be limited to the main opposition. All other political parties go join in. And you see, the disheartening thing also is whenever you get bill of this nature, where they touch on the lives of the citizen, before ever you do let the consultation happen. But if you pull bill like this, you don't even consult SLAJ, you don't consult IMC, you don't consult all the civil societies where they deal in communication, and you pull this such a dangerous bill where they trample on the rights and privacy of the citizens of this nation. We're not going to accept this. We need cybercrime bill in this country. The one we go protect we from cyber attacks, the one we go protect every citizen from abuse and misuse of social media. But cybercrime bill for focus on protection and prevention.
A representative from the government strategic say this bill is not a new thing. It starts from the then government, and then they can do the implementation now.
That is absolutely false. So I don't think in governance we begin with the free access to freedom of information bill. You know, this is nothing. We never introduced them kind bill and this. So that is absolutely false and not correct.